Okay, so if you look at the study guide, section 401, Introduction to Matrices. Okay, the very first part was about finding the dimensions. Okay, you should be able to look at a matrix and go, how many rows, how many columns? That very first one is a 2 by 4 matrix. It has 2 rows, 4 columns. A matrix has to be equal. It has to have the same number of rows, same number of columns. So if you look down there at the middle of the page, the example, the 2, 4, 3, negative 1, 0, 2, to have an equal matrix, it's got to be lined up just like that, okay? So that first 2 matrices, they are equal. The second 2, they're not equal. Even though they have the same numbers in there, they're not set up exactly the same. Then we talked about scalar multiplication, which we've been doing, we just did it right here. Okay, the 1 over negative 29, I'm multiplying by that, and I'm multiplying by that. That was called scalar multiplication. It's like distributive property, okay? There's an example of that at the bottom of the page. 4 times that matrix just means multiplying 4 times everything inside that matrix. That was section 4.1. Okay, y'all overwhelmed yet? Okay, section 4.2, you are adding and subtracting. To add and subtract matrices, their dimensions have to be exactly the same. You cannot add and subtract a 2 by 4 and a 2 by 8. You can't do it. So you might have impossible when you go to do a problem. You add first row, first column, second row, first column. You know, they have to match up. You just add them or you subtract them, depending on what they tell you to do. Okay? I don't want to belabor this point, but I want to make sure that you understand it. Can addition and subtraction be done on the calculator? Yeah. Okay, you can take the time to put the matrices into your calculator and do it. Now, personally, I'm not sure it would be worth it. I guess it depends on what the numbers are. If I am adding these 2 matrices together, unless you are really bad about doing math in your head, I don't think it's worth the effort to put it in your calculator. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 7 is 11. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. 3 plus 10 is 13. I'm pretty sure that's quicker than what it would have taken. I still didn't do it. Oh. Which one?
It's that one, yeah.
This one?
No,
You multiplied it.
Oh, you're right. Right here. Okay. Don't know that it'd be worth the effort. Okay? Maybe you want to double check it and you've got time, so you want to put it in there. You can do it. I'm not telling you can't do it that way. Okay? Complicates things when you start putting scalar multiplication in front of it, then maybe it's worth it. I don't know. Okay? Remember, you have to do the scalar multiplication first on both of them, then add the 2 numbers together. So on this one, you would have an 8 plus a 10. So this would become 18. Okay, you see what I'm doing? No, yes, yeah. Okay, what happens if I have a subtraction? Well, then instead of adding, I subtract. Okay, so I would have a 4 times 2 minus a 10. So this becomes a negative 2. Okay, you see how that changes? It's almost too easy, is it not? Okay, so that's the whole second section, is addition and subtraction of these matrices. The third section, I'll give you that it was a little harder. This was the multiplication of matrix. Okay, remember, in order to multiply a matrix, the center dimensions have to match. So the column on the first one has to match the number of rows on the second one. Okay, so if I have this matrix, this is a 2 by 2. Can I multiply it by this matrix? Can I multiply it by that?
No.
What's the dimensions here?
1 by 2.
Oh, 1 by 2. If you really look at the dimensions, remember this and this has to match. It doesn't. But,
Let's make like an even right angle.
do what?
Let's make like an even right angle.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Could I do that one? If I put that in front, because this is, remember, a 1 by 2. Now, the center dimensions match. What's the resulting matrix going to be? What's the dimensions of the resulting matrix?
1 by 2.
A 1 by 2. The first one and the last one. Okay, so what I'm going to have over here is a 1 by 2. If you're struggling, do that. Okay, that's what you're trying to fill in. So let's do this. Okay, row by column. It's going to be pretty easy. I have a 2 times 3, which is a 6, plus a 4 times 2, which is an 8. Then I'm going to go next column. 2 times 4, which is an 8, plus a 4 times 4, which is a 16. So my answer is going to be 14 and 24. Okay? Can you do it in the calculator? Yeah. Okay, if you want to put it in the calculator, do it in the calculator. Okay, you can't just randomly switch the order. Okay, you can't go, oh, I can't do it this way, let me switch it. If you cannot do it the way that it's laid out, you just put cannot be done, okay, or empty set. All right, that is 4.3. Section 4.4 is finding the determinant. Now, we did a second order determinant and we did a third order determinant. This is the only thing that could possibly trip you up a little bit, okay? But again, you can do it on a calculator. There's a determinant button. Let's do it by hand and then remind me and I'll show you, okay? Let's say I want to know the determinant of a 4, 2, -3, and 10. How do I find the determinant of that? I multiply up, so that's going to be a 40, and that's going to be a -6, and then I subtract. So I'm going to have a determinant of a 46. Okay, put that in your calculator. Put that matrix in your calculator. Under matrix A. Okay? Remember the dimensions are a 2 by 2? Got it in there? Okay, select matrix A. Go to the matrix section. Go over to where it says math. The first one down is determinant. So basically, and really truthfully, we didn't want to select matrix A. You would do the determinant first, then select matrix A. I think the determinant's got to be in there first on those calculators.
That way, yeah.
Okay, and it's got to be there, and you should get 46 as an answer. Did you get it? Can be done on the calculator. Okay. 3 by 3. Now, if I tell you to do it on a 3 by 3 by expansion of minors or by diagonals, I'm going to need to see your work. Okay, you can't just put it in your calculator and give me an answer. However, you can use your calculator to see if you got the right answer. Okay, once you've done it. All right. 3 by 3. I don't know, we'll make up one. All right, expansion of minors. What does that look like? Do you remember the pattern? Okay, I select this first one, right? So I have 0 times the determinant of the expansion of its minors. So 5, 7, -3, and 4. Then is it minus or plus?
Minus.
It's minus first. That's what messes me up. That's why I end up doing it by diagonals. So -1 times the determinant of the expansion of its minors. 4, 2, 7, and 4, right? Plus 3 times the expansion of its minors, which is 4, 5, 2, and -3, okay? Then you just have to do the determinants. 20 minus a -21, 16 minus 14, and -12 minus 10. Okay, with me so far?
Why does it go from just -1 to positive, like subtraction?
That's the pattern.
It's just
It's the pattern. It's like the formula for it.
okay.
Okay? All right, so I have 0 times who cares, okay? This is 0, okay? Then I have 2 times a negative 1, so that's minus 2. Then I'm going to have negative 22 times 3, which is going to be negative 66. So I'm going to get here, I'm going to get a negative 68 as my determinant, okay? That is expansion of minors. Now, we can double check it by doing diagonals. See if we did it right, okay? So I'm going to erase all this down. We'll use the same matrix. I'm just going to recopy the first 2 rows. Make sure it's the first 2 rows, okay? All right, then I multiply up. I'm multiplying. So that's, let's see, negative 9 and 4, negative 36. And then I'm adding in between those, okay? So that on the top is going to give me a negative 22. Okay, on the bottom, I multiply down, so that's going to give me a 30 plus 0 plus 16. So I'm going to get a 46 on the bottom. Then I subtract. So I have negative 22 minus 46, which is going to give me a negative 68. Oh, seems like I saw that number somewhere before. Okay? 2 ways to do that. Okay? That's section 4.4. That brings us to what we just did. Identity and inverse and solving for the equations. Okay, that's the chapter. That is all there is to the chapter. Okay? Does that make sense? We good? Okay, I've done out on your study guide. I've been very, very specific on your study guide as far as going back and looking. All right, I'm going to give you your homework. This is your review homework, which means you'll have your test tomorrow, which means just either stay in late on Thursday, you know, to take your test. That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me get to the spot where your homework is. All right, page 246 through 247. And I want you to do not a whole lot to this, to be honest with you. So let's do 11 through 43. Oh, now, especially on the addition and subtraction and all that kind of stuff, I can't stop you from using your calculator. You can do it all on a calculator. The only thing that I would suggest you practice on is the determinant, okay? Because that might say solve by expansion of minors or solve by diagonals. Now, it doesn't tell you which way to do it, so I would just vary it up. Do some one way and some another way, okay?